How hard did you push it till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, MuniciPals? This is Big C. We have a special guest on this week. Our good friend, owner, CEO, designer, the all the hats. He wears them all for the brand Chasing Aces Golf. Jeff Peart. What's happening,
What's up,
buddy?
Chris? I'm just excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Yeah, we've known each other for a good while now.
Yeah, a few years.
Outside of golf, way before you probably even knew that I was such a golf sicko, and before you played.
Before I even played golf. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we met at our good friend Ian Williams' coffee shop Dead Stock out here in Portland off 4th and Cooch. And, always chopped it up about sneakers and basketball and all things outside of golf. But COVID brought you into the game. You fell in love. You're just as much of a diehard as I have been since I was the age of 9 at this point. So, give people a little background on kind of what got you into golf, what made you want to start playing it.
Sure. Well, what's funny is you and I were hanging out at Dead Stock often because that was like the spot, and I wish it were, but COVID kind of shut that down. But anyway, so for the longest time, I had no idea that you golfed, and I wasn't golfing. And when I found out that you golfed, it was just kind of like, wait, what? You're not just a casual golfer; you're really into it. And so the fact that I had no idea that was even a part of your life was funny to me. So anyway, because like I said, I only knew you as Big C from Dead Stock. So I actually started playing golf about 4 years ago, right before COVID. Had clubs in the attic that a friend sent me. He's a 6'4" lefty, lives in Pennsylvania. And he just sent me a note and said, hey, you're the only other 6'4" lefty I know. I just bought new clubs. I know you don't golf, but I'm shipping them to you. And that was about 15 years ago. And they went up into the attic. I never even opened the FedEx box. It just stayed there. And then 3.5 years ago, took up the game, went to Colwood for the first time, or the first place I ever went was Colwood. And I just beat up the mats of the driving range because you don't know what you're doing. I mean, I barely know what I'm doing now, 4 years in. But that first year is always rough. So I always tell people that if you can get past that first year, you'll be all right. But that first year is tough. That first year is so hard because you're terrible. Nobody's good. But then, cliche story, you hit one good shot and it feels amazing and it does what you want it to do. And then you're hooked. So I sort of, started playing golf because I couldn't play basketball. I grew up playing basketball, played college and semi-pro ball for a couple years, and my body's just beat up. Had a pretty bad leg injury at 33. Couldn't recover from that. And just doctors said, don't pound your knee, don't run, don't jump. And well, that's basketball. So a couple years of being delusional and fighting that and wanting to play basketball and hurting myself more, I realized, I really can't do that. So picked up the game of golf. It has absolutely replaced basketball as the drive. I still love basketball. I still coach basketball. I'm still coaching at Aloha. But as far as my competitive drive, it's 100% golf. So I'm super into it now.
And I think you see that more with a lot of high-level athletes after they're done with their careers of whatever sport that they played, if it's hockey, baseball, basketball. You see, my good friend, Bobby Jackson, he retired and then got just enthralled with the game. And me and him we ran into each other during COVID at a course called Morgan Creek out in Roseville, in Sacramento area. And we just hit it off. And then we started playing cash games every couple weeks, pretty much for the next 2 years. So, I think it's the competitiveness that you have in, you get to a certain level in peak kind of in your ability in the sport that you're in. And I think golf is one of those sports that there is no ceiling. There's nowhere that you can get to where you're mastering the game. Right, even the best players in the world, like Tiger and, some of these guys out there, they still haven't mastered the game.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
think you can. And that's, I think, the appeal to the game of golf.
Yeah. I was on the Duffin Up podcast. I don't know if you ever listen to those guys. Good group of dudes. But we were talking about the line from Tin Cup, where perfection is unattainable. And, he gives that in his speech as he's teaching that first lesson. And I just love that, because that's absolutely true. I'm a relatively new golfer. I'm dancing right around 100. My handicap's terrible. But when I shoot an 89, I'm psyched about it. And now I want to shoot an 88, and it just never stops. And one day I might shoot an 79, and I'll go, that's awesome, but I want a 78. And it just never ends. And I just love that so much. And I've got friends, if you go on to chasingasesgolf.com, first plug, what up? And look at the photos, there's a woman on there named Wendy, and she's 82 years old. And we play every Thursday. And she just kicks my butt, because I try and hit it 300, and sometimes I do, but the majority of the time it's 300 to the 3 blocks over some houses, and it's gone, long gone. And she's just hitting 150, super simple, straight, over and over and over, and just kicking my butt. And I look at that as like a personal goal, to be playing golf at 82 and playing well, because she's been playing for 70 years, since she was a kid. So I look at her and I think, gosh, that's what I want. And I couldn't do that with basketball, and I couldn't do that with triathlons or marathons or any other stuff I was trying to replace basketball, because all that just beats up your body. So I'm just happy that I found this, because I was struggling for a couple of years. I mean, I'll be fully transparent with you. Like, I needed a competitive outlet, and I couldn't find it. And I'm so happy that I found golf.
Yeah, and once you get into it and you get to a certain level, what I love about golf too is people at all different levels can compete with each other as well. And I mean, with the handicap system, it really allows all different abilities to go out and enjoy the game and be competitive.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're a 19 handicap or you're a scratch golfer. It all evens out when you go out
That's
and
right.
play. And I think that's one of the best parts about golf as well, is it doesn't matter the ability, as long as you're going out having fun, you can compete. And that's one of the best things about the game, for sure.
Yep. It's just great being outside and competing at something.
So what made you come up with the idea for Chasing Aces? What was the origin story kind of behind the brand? Because it's a great, story. I've personally heard it, but I know our listeners will be juiced kind of to hear
Sure.
what the backstory is.
Yeah, you got the whole layout of the brand when we were on our way to Roseburg and back. We'll probably have to talk about that a little bit.
Yep.
But being strapped with me in a car for 5 hours, I'm gonna do a lot of talking. So Chasing Aces is a brand that I launched in November. Had the idea about 18 months, almost 2 years ago, but needed to develop it and make sure that it was right. For those that have seen the logo, we have a golden retriever silhouette, and that is my golden retriever, Franklin. And unfortunately, he passed in an accident, and it was really hard on me. And that was 5 years ago, before I was golfing, and I didn't know how to process it. I was hurt and feeling loss and grief and pain and all the things from losing a pet like that. So with time and with therapy, and I totally believe in therapy. So if anyone's listening and needs to talk to somebody, 100% do it.
I did a full episode on mental health.
Yeah, it's so valuable and important. And for the longest time, like, there's that stigma of guys shouldn't share their feelings or cry or talk about therapy or any of that stuff. And that's crap. And you absolutely should. And I'm on the other side of the wall, and I feel so much better. And that doesn't mean it's perfect. And I still have days where I'm upset and I still miss him and all those things. But I've used Chasing Aces as a way to turn that into a positive, because now I see his logo everywhere. I see my friends wearing it. I see strangers wearing it. It's popping up all over Instagram and social media. And that just makes me so happy to keep his spirit alive and share Franklin with people. And so, the golden retriever community is very passionate, like most dog, communities are, but golden retrievers are very passionate people, the owners. And they've fully embraced the brand. And we have a couple of items that don't say Chasing Aces on it, that just have the Franklin logo. And we have a keychain of just Franklin, the dog, and a portion of those sales go to a golden retriever rescue called Golden Bond, which was important to us to sort of help the community out. That's helped us a lot. So as far as the name came from Trash Talking, which is a golf standard. You're on a tee box, usually a par three. Some of the bigger hitters are hitting par fours to the green, but typically a par three. And you're just talking trash with your friends, like, oh, ace cam is live, or aces are out, or we're all chasing aces out here. And you tell your friend, like, hey Chris, film me, this is going in, film me. And if it goes in, you're a legend. And if you shank it into the woods, you're laughed at for 10 seconds and you move on, and nobody thinks about it ever again. But you pull up to the next par three, and subconsciously you tell yourself this is going in. You may not say it, but you think it. And I know you do, I do, Tiger does, everybody does. And it doesn't matter about your ability. And if you've made one, you want another one. It doesn't matter how many you have, you're always chasing aces. And so that's where the name came from. I just like the sound of it. I think the logos looks great. I didn't design it. I hired a friend, and she did the both the logos. Franklin is off a photo, so that was pretty. She was inspired by that photo of mine. But the Chasing Aces script logo was, I gave a little bit of direction, but she just worked her magic, and I absolutely love it. So that's where that's where I got the idea for the brand. And like I said, we've just launched in November, and it's taken off bigger than I thought, quicker than I thought, better than I thought, because I don't have any delusions of grandeur that this is going to be the biggest brand ever, and I'm going to take down, I can't even think of Roback or whatever, but I say that it's 80% therapy for me and 20% because of golf, and I want a brand. So, yeah, that's how we got where we are.
And I would say it's almost like a cross too with kind of promoting dogs on the course in golf as well. Because that was I think a discussion me and you had when we went out to Ball Run and played was, I think more golf courses, as long as your dog is, well trained off a leash, really respectful of other people, all those type of things. I think having your dog out on the golf course is one of the best things ever. And I've seen it more and more throughout my travels in golf and playing different courses where it is much more accessible. You're allowed to have your dogs out there on the course, especially more the public side, municipal side of golf. They're a lot more friendly and open to that. And I think on top of kind of the whole thing about everybody's chasing aces and we're all looking for that next, our next hole in one or, our next experience. And that's the thing too. It's not always just about the hole in one. It's just having that experience with your boys, being out there with your friends, but then also, let's open up the public side of things or just golf in general to be more open and free, not only about allowing your dog to come out on the golf course, but like, be able to wear an untucked t-shirt and going out there and enjoying yourself and getting rid of some of those stigmas in golf. And I think that's also what Chasing Aces kind of embodies as well.
For sure. Yeah. And you had mentioned dogs on the course, and it just makes me think of Manzanita Links. I mean, I know there are other courses that allow dogs, but that's my favorite. I mean, that's not my favorite course. I love it a lot, but I really like being out there and how relaxed the atmosphere is, dogs running around the course. I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. So I have a lot of great memories of being out on Manzanita Links and seeing dogs running around. So I got to get out there. I'm actually heading to the coast tomorrow to maybe I'll play a little golf. I think the weather's pretty bad, so I don't know if I'm bringing the clubs, but anyway, go to Manzanita Links and play with some dogs.
Yeah, shout out Matty Brown. He is changing a lot of the faces of golf. I know. In his own little sector out there, and he's been doing great things with Manzanita and Highlands.
Yeah, I really like what he's doing out there.
So as we mentioned earlier, me and Jeff. So when we both found out, he found out about my golf obsession, how long I've been playing, and he was a diehard at this point, and there was a course out in Roseburg that was being built by Dan Hickson. And if you don't know Dan Hickson, he's done a bunch of redesigns. He's also designed Wine Valley out in Washington, Bannon Crossings, tons of golf courses in the Oregon and Washington Pacific Northwest area. Was designing a new course out in Roseburg, and they were doing I guess it's like a sample of the course, or it was just kind of a preview.
Play.
Yeah, preview play. So they had 10 holes finished. To be honest, it was really 9. They had a par 3 that was kind of like half finished.
Hastily thrown together, but you know, they're in the middle of building it, so that's fine.
Yeah, and so basically the thing was you pay a flat rate, you get a cart, you get to go out there, you know, and play as many holes as you want in a day. Lunch was included. You got some swag with it. It was a great little deal and really cool. Darren Bunch invited us out there. We got he hooked us up a little bit, which was really nice. So, you know, those type of things were great. And Bar Run was a really, really fun track. You know, I'm really excited to get out there when all 18 are open, because I think there's some hidden holes that we didn't get to play just because Dan was still finishing them. And I think the holes we played were fun and really, really enjoyable. The greens weren't fully grown in yet. It was a little shaggy. They're running a little slow, but being able to see, being able to see a course in a preview mode like that was the first experience I've ever had where I got to play a course. So experiencing something that I've never experienced in golf, and I've been playing, you know, over 20 years. So, you know, that was really, really fun. And then Dan decided to get off the tractor and come out to us on one of the holes when we were in the middle of the fairway and chatted with us for 30, 40 minutes. So, you know.
And normally a conversation in the middle of the fairway for 40 minutes is unbelievably frowned upon. You can't do that. But there was only 2 or 3 other groups out. And with the 10 holes, we weren't waiting on anybody. Nobody was waiting on us. You all had free reign of the course. So you could stop and talk to the designer or the architect, I'm sorry, in the middle of the fairway, which is just a phenomenal experience. It was so fun to do that. The other part of the story that I like is when we were driving down, you made the mistake of telling me what the single day record was, because it was 56, I think, or 57 holes
something like
in a day. And I said, well, then, because in my mind, when they say you pay the flat rate and you can play as much as you want, in my mind, I thought we'll play 36. Like that's a nice 2 rounds. It's respectful. You know, it's a nice day out on the course. It's a full long day, whatever. So you told me 57 was the single day record. And I started doing math. I'm like, 57 to 36 is not that big a difference. I mean, what's another 20 plus hole? You know, who cares? And so I remember, like, as soon as you told that to me, I got super competitive. I'm like, I'm not that good a golfer. I'm going to give it hell, but I'm going to see how many holes we can get. And it, minus a break for lunch, because we had really great tacos. We played about 10 hours and we ended up with 65 holes, which was awesome because we were just a pair. It was just the 2 of us. And there's a foursome of Bandon caddies either in front of us or behind us, and they were on the course just as long, but because there were 4 of them, they couldn't get through the holes as fast. So for about a week, you and I were top dogs and king of the court, or king of the course, and that's basketball and king of the court. And then I think a single went around about 10 days later and did 70 plus holes or something like that. And then, you know, it's kind of fun because I wanted to be like the top for a while. I thought we put a number on it that no one would get to for a while. And then I never thought somebody would go out by themselves and play for 10 plus hours. But anyway, it was just a blast of a day to be down there.
It was a great time. And the one thing I would say, I think we still hold the record because it was a single that beat us. So we at least were a twosome.
Hey, we're the best twosome out there.
We're the best twosome.
The Bandon guys might be the best foursome. We don't know.
Yeah.
Most holes for foursome, most holes for twosome, single, however you want to break it down. But we were the top dogs for a while.
But anybody that's played for a long time, trying to get that many holes in a day is ridiculous. Like, it just
I was tired by the end. We were
we
grinding.
were
Like I think
exhausted.
you were done, and I kept like pushing you and annoying
Yeah.
you. Like we're so close, we're so close, we're so close, and we did it. We got 65, and like okay, let's push it a little bit or whatever. 57 to 65. We're at 60. Okay, well let's push it a little bit more. So and then we checked in uh, at the clubhouse, which was a makeshift trailer because they were under construction, but whatever. Uh, and they said, well, we asked how long could we be on the course, and they go, well, we're shutting it down at 7, and so we just pushed until 7 o'clock, and I don't know, just made for a long day because 10 plus hours of golf plus a 3 or 4 hour drive down, 3 or 4 hour ride back. I mean, it was a full day.
It
But a
was
great
it was
memory.
a great memory. One of the best days that I've ever had playing golf. It didn't even feel like that until I think we hit the mid 50s, and then it was
Yes.
like it started setting in because we didn't jam around the course either. It's we putted everything out. We
Yep.
played the holes true,
Yep.
exactly
Yep.
how it was supposed to be played. We weren't trying to get the record, but we were trying to get the record kind of
Right.
thing where it was like, we played at a very good pace and we got through it. And anybody that wants to go out and try to play that many holes, I don't recommend it on a regular course. If you ever get a chance to play a preview or something like that, where you get the course to yourself, do your thing. But yeah, don't try to get that many holes in if you're booking tee times to get that in, because that's going to be a horrible day.
I don't ever plan on trying again. I'm good.
No.
If we did it, it would just be ridiculous to try again. But anyway.
So Jeff, where do you see the future Chasing Aces going? What do you want to see the brand get to? Kind of what's your future goals with the brand?
Sure. So we had 3 goals when we started. I'll do a little bit of a backstory on that. So we had 3 goals when we started, was to get strangers to buy it, right? Because I have friends and family that are supportive and they're wonderful, and that's great. And I need that. I need them to buy the hats and the shirts and the polos. But for a brand to be successful, strangers have to buy it. Hold on. Sorry, whoever's editing this. So we needed strangers to buy it because obviously that's how you grow. The second goal was to get it into a store, and now we're down in Arizona. There's a store in Tempe called All About Golf, and they carry us, and so they've got our shirts down there. And then the third goal was to get a professional athlete to wear it. And right now we're on Gigi Stoll, and she's on the Epson Tour, which is the Korn Ferry equivalent. So the top 10 at the end of the season get their LPGA card, and off they go, and it's a huge deal. So we got connected to her, negotiated out a plan, and we don't sponsor every tournament because we don't have the money to do that. But we picked, I think, 6 of her 15 or 20 that the summer's worth. We picked 6 tournaments, and we sponsor that, and she wears our gear. So those are the goals. So now the new goals. We are putting on tournaments, which we'll probably talk about a little bit more. We got a tournament coming up July 16th out at Summerfield. We are sponsoring the Aloha High School golf team. We're in talks to sponsor the Beaverton High School team, in talks to sponsor Ida B. Wells, which used to be Wilson High School. Now it's Ida B. Wells. Right now, officially only Aloha. The other 2 are in conversations and talks. So ideally, that's where we're going. We want to support the up and coming golfers, the next generation, whatever you want to call it, because there's a lot of, if we were to spend a ton of money and get on somebody super popular or super famous, one, that would just crush us because that would take all of our money, but it would be fleeting, I think, and that would be great. It would be great if it happened naturally, right? I'm not opposed to somebody big and famous wearing our stuff. That'd be awesome. And I'm always reaching out and trying. But the size of our brand, the size of our company, I've decided to focus on local high school teams and local events. 4 of the ladies came through to Cottage Golf, the simulator in Beaverton. And we sponsored that, partially supported that, gave some prizes and gear for that. Draw and Fade, another brand, was in town, and they had an event, and they were gracious enough to invite us. And I double checked that, thinking, why do you want another hat and shirt apparel company at your event potentially taking sales. And I said it just like that. And they said, you know what? Don't worry about it. Like, we're all small brands. We're all trying. It'll be good to have you. So that's the direction. We're focusing on the smaller brands. We're partnering with smaller brands. We did just get back from Arizona and met a couple of nice connections there. I don't know if you're familiar with Desert Fox, the iPhone clip or the phone clip for your golf cart. I found out it's the #1 golf accessory on Amazon, which is wild. So I had lunch with the owner of that company, and we talked, and we're working on ideas for Chasing Aces. And again, I don't really like talking about ideas because a million things can go wrong and we may never do it. But the fact that we're in those talks, we're at the table, is huge. And I'm meeting with the owner of this massive golf company, and we're talking about putting our brand on stuff. Like, so, that's where we're going with it. But the thing right in front of us now, sponsoring Gigi and our tournament on July 16th.
So talk a little bit about the tournament. What came, how did you get the idea of the tournament? I know your brother-in-law is the head pro out at Summerfield. So what is the tournament? What is it? What's the format?
Sure.
Where can people sign up for it?
Absolutely. So it's called the Franklin Open. With Franklin being my dog, I wanted to put his name in big letters all over the flyers. And again, it's so focused for my enjoyment, just to keep his spirit alive. But it makes me happy to say we're doing the Franklin Open. Anyway, it's very sentimental. But so it'll be July 16th, which is a Saturday. It's not a shotgun start. We're doing tee times from 9 to 1. It'll be at Summerfield, like you said. And we're going to make everything a par 3. So it is an executive course as it is already. So it's par 3s and 4s. And so we're going to move everything up to a par 3 with varying distances. We'll have prizes on every hole. Some prizes bigger than others. Let's see, we've got a year's worth of Bridgestone golf balls on hole 2 if you make a hole in one. If you make a hole in one on 7, you get a $1,200 Travis Matthews shopping spree. And if you make a hole in one on hole 9, you get $10,000. That's the big one. And you've played Summerfield, that hole is going over water. We move it back to the second tee box, and it'll be 152 yards. So not trying to surprise anybody. Everybody go out and practice. If you can hit a shot 152 yards consistently, you got a chance at $10,000. And then we've got sponsorship partners for other holes. So Aimser Distillery is going to be they're a sponsor, and they're going to have prizes. So on those bigger prizes, the $10,000 and the Travis Matthew and the golf balls, we'll do longest putt or KP contests, things like that. So you don't have to hit a hole in one on every hole. There'll be prizes passed out. It's just those three holes are the biggest ones. And we'll have Guilty Golf is going to be there with some of their putting grips. And Odin golf balls will be there. They've donated some golf balls to us. So it's a 2-man scramble. So you sign up in pairs, and you'll be partnered up with somebody else. And then the 4 of you will go out on your tee time and have a nice fun day of 9 holes of par 3 golf as you take your chance of chasing aces.
I love that. So one thing I want to say, so it's 2-man scramble. So there is a prize per team, and there's also whole prizes.
Correct. Yep. Whoever wins gets a trophy. So they'll be handed a trophy. And then there is a legacy trophy that'll go in the shop that we're having made. So their names will be on it, and it just stays there forever. And then next year they come back, and if you win, the winning team gets an automatic bid to the next year's tournament. So, the idea being, if you win, you have to come back and defend your title. So I'm going to make it easy for you and automatically give you a bid to the next year's tournament. So that's the idea there. The way to sign up, you can Venmo Chasing Aces Golf, and it's $30 for an individual or $50 for a team. So a bit of a price break there if you can grab a buddy and jump in. Or you can go to the pro shop at Summerfield and sign up there. So you can send a check, or not send a check, but some that clientele, like, is a little bit older at that shop, in that golf community. So I've received a couple of checks, some cash, and then everybody on Instagram and then I'm texting prefers to Venmo, Chasing Aces Golf. So there isn't a huge registration or big thing to do. You just got to send the Venmo over for 30 or 50. There's more information on our Instagram at Chasing Aces Golf, all the flyers, all the registration information, everything's there. But if you want to get in, simply Venmo Chasing Aces Golf, 30 or 50. In the notes, just make sure I know your name so I can put you on a T slot. And off we go. There'll be Dead Stock Coffee will be on hand from 9 to 11 that morning, making coffees. And I don't know if you've had their toast. Have you been there lately and had the concourse toast?
I haven't. I saw Nori post about it the other day, but yeah, I know that's their new venture right now.
It's amazing, and I can't guarantee it, but I am going to try and get them to bring some. I don't know if they can do it because they're still in the stages of trying to make it happen in the shop, so I can't imagine they're ready to take it on the road. But I'm going to push for it because it's phenomenal, and I think Dead Stock makes the best Americano in Portland, so I'm super hyped to have them there. And I hear that Ian and Nori are going to be in the tournament, so it'll be fun to have them hacking up the course.
Yeah, I hope Terrell comes out too from Dead Stock because he's been grinding hard too, getting into golf. So it's good to see all those guys get in because I've known Nori since he was in high school,
right.
and all those guys. So it's fun to see them all kind of get into the game that I've loved for so long, and it's kind of like you found out. Not something I advertised. I was always just, the sneakerhead from the Bay Area that used to come in Warriors gear and get shit on all the time. Now that everybody's golfing, they've kind of come to really, wow, Chris has been around the game for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's funny.
Yeah, it's fun. But one thing I want to ask, and one thing I love to ask all of our guests here are 3 favorite courses that you've played, 3 courses that are on your bucket list.
Sure. Well, a favorite is Manzanita Links. Love that course. Summerfield, like it's in Summerfield, you've played it. It's not, it's just a 9-hole executive course, but they take such great care of it. They pour a ton of money into it. And I feel incredibly, that's where I learned to golf. So I think I have emotional attachments to it, right? Because I hacked it up at Colwood, but I would go play golf rounds, even though 9 holes at Summerfield. So, I would say Manzanita and Summerfield. A third, probably Bar Run with you, down there. Again, only 10 holes completed, 9.5, however you want to slice it. But the experience was amazing. So again, I've only been playing for a few years. I've not played Bandon. I've not played Chambers Bay. I've not gone to the floating island in Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, like all the big marquee places in this area I've not played yet. So the second half of your question is much easier to answer than the first, because like I said, I played Widgie Creek down in Bend. That was fun.
Yeah, great course.
Had a great time down there. My girlfriend plays. She's new to the game as well, so she and I like to play a lot of golf. She's a former college volleyball player, so another athlete with a competitive drive and needed something to do. And when we met, I said, "Look, I'm into golf, and it's what I do." And she wanted to get into it, so here we go. We're going. So she plays a lot with me. She has funny rules though, where it has to be 62 degrees or warmer. Like if it's 61, she's not going out. So I don't know when she made that number up, but that's her comfort level. And so I wake up every morning and go, if it's not raining, I'm probably going to go. I'm going to try and make it happen, because I'll go at 40 degrees. I don't care. I've done that. So, it's fun to play. Like when COVID first hit, we spent quite a bit of time down at the beach because golf courses were the only thing that were open. And we would come back to Portland and realize, well, there's nothing open. We can't do anything. So we would go back down to the coast and we would just play, Manzanita, Highlands, Seaside's a fun course. Astoria, we played that. Then Longview. Like, we're literally just going up 101 every day, just pick a new course and go play. It was a blast. So yeah, I wish I had better answers of like cool courses I've played, but I'm too new to the game and I haven't traveled much. I mean, just this last weekend I played Talking Stick down in Tempe, or is it? I don't know exactly where that is. Chandler, Tempe, not Chandler. Anyway, I don't know the area, but we played Talking Stick, and then played Painted Mountain for the All About Golf Phoenix Children's Hospital charity tournament, and we just got back from that. So
Nice.
yeah.
So, and easier question then. What would be the courses that you at least have heard of that are on your bucket list to get out and play?
Sure. Well, I don't know if it was pre-show or maybe we talked about it already, but Beth Page going out to New York.
Yep.
That's where my girlfriend's from, and we've been out there and played. We tried to get on. We played some course in Long Island. I forget what it was called, but made for an entertaining day because we didn't bring our clubs, and so we were just out there visiting her family and friends, and had some free time and thought, well, let's go, play a quick. I think we only played 9. I honestly don't remember. But the rental clubs that they gave us were just horrendous. And I'm a lefty. So lefty rental clubs, you're not getting anything worth a dang.
No.
So it was an enjoyable round. We had a great time. We met this lovely couple from Boston. We just had a blast. So I would play, I would like to get back to New York soon, tentatively going in September, and play Beth Page. That'd be fun. I'd mentioned Wendy a couple of times. On her bucket list is the floating green at Coeur d'Alene, because she's played St. Andrews, she's played Bandon, she's been around and she's traveled the world playing golf, but never played the floating island in Coeur d'Alene. And so we were talking, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and she said, oh, that's on my list. And so I'm coordinating with her sons to get her out there this summer.
Nice.
So that's a big one. I want to play that. I'm going out to, I don't even know the name of the course. I'm going out to Pendleton to support Gigi because she's got a tournament there, Wild Horse Casino, I believe.
Okay, yeah, that's a good course.
Yeah, so that's where the Epson Tour is in September for early September tournament, and we're going to drive out there to support her, potentially try and play, in the Pro-Am the day before. Again, we're all in talks, so I got a lot of things to tighten up and figure out about that. But if we can get on there, that'd be great. Because again, I don't know the course. It could be great. It could be terrible. I mean, I imagine it's pretty nice because it's a Epson Tour, course. But the experience, if I can play around with, so I've got one guy on staff named Jared Chase. He's like the wholesale account guy. So he's the one calling stores for us or helping me call stores to try and get us in these wholesale accounts. We call him the face, because if you look at any of my videos on Instagram, I'm the one behind the phone camera. He's often the one swinging the club or missing a putt or draining a putt, whatever. And so I call him Jared the Face Chase. So he's the face of Chasing Aces, and he's a good sport about it. But anyway, if I can get him and I to go out and support Gigi and play on that course and play the Pro-Am the day before she tees off for her tournament, that's a big one on my list. I want to do that because I think that'd be a great memory.
Pro-Ams are fun. I've only played in a couple, and it's a good time. It's a fun experience to be able to watch players of that caliber play with you, because you get paired up with 2 pros and it's you and whoever else is in your foursome, and it's incredible to watch a pro play. I've played in the Champions Tour back when it was called the Senior Tour in the early 2000s at Coyote Creek, and I got to play with Lee Trevino, which was
nice,
super amazing, and it was incredible to watch because, I mean, the guy was probably in his mid-60s at that time, and just watching him flight shots and hit wedges and it's incredible to watch. So it's an experience. If anybody can get out to play a Pro-Am, that's a fun experience because they're on another level. I've played at a high caliber in my golf, life. And I've never been near that level. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to match.
Yeah. We were at the tournament in Arizona this weekend for the Children's Hospital. We were in over our heads. Our foursome flew down. Like I said, they were the first door to take a chance on us. And so we wanted to fly down and support their tournament. But you needed to turn in your handicaps, and my handicap's terrible. Terrible. I don't even want to say it. It's that bad. But everybody else's was scratch 1, 2, 10, right in there. Found out that Anna Nordquist was there. Number whatever she is, 10 in the world for women's golf. I don't know where 20. I don't know where she is on that, but like 3-time LPGA champ standing right next to me as we wait for the instructions of what we're going to do. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's her. What am I doing here? I'm so out of my element. But it's just such a fun. It was just such a fun day. So yeah, Todd at All About Golf. Shout out to him for all the hard work he did putting on that, and everyone at the store, because it took a lot. As you know, tournaments are hard. They take a lot of effort and time. And our little tournament, it's going to take a lot, but it's not the magnitude of that. I mean, they had a couple hundred people at this thing, so it's a big deal, and it was impressive the way he did it. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we just planned our first tournament, the Cookout, down in Soul Park in Southern California, and we only had 24 people playing our tournament, and it is a grind to get that organized and get people to commit and pay up front. And I mean, the whole thing, it's extremely difficult. So, anybody that's going out to plan a tournament, I give you massive props, because
it takes a lot of work.
It took us a year to plan it all out. And with COVID still kind of ramping up and flaring up, it caused massive issues for us. We had a lot of people dropping out last minute because they were getting sick, and they just didn't want to get anybody else sick. So, luckily our boy Fabian stepped in and really helped us out, fill in some spots. But it was some last minute, ditch efforts to fill the entire thing. It's a little different when you throw a tournament like you're throwing, or where it's not team based, where we were a Ryder Cup style team based thing. So if we had anyone drop out, the whole thing fell apart.
Right.
So
you need the numbers.
We needed the numbers. We needed exactly 12 on 12 or exact numbers. So that was a little bit more of our battle. But I give mad respect to anybody that organized a tournament. And when you get up to those levels, I talk to Zach and Travis from Northwest Golf Guys all the time, and that's what they do for a living, is playing tournaments. And I'm like, how the fuck do you get 180 guys to come out for a tournament?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's wild.
It's crazy.
When the summer started, or when this spring started, and I was in the initial stages of planning the Franklin Open, I had plans to have another tournament at Chehalem, 18-hole. Full tournament, foursomes, the whole thing. And I don't know, halfway through planning the Franklin Open, I thought, nope, I'm good. I'm just going to do the one and see how that goes. And maybe that's just the thing. Maybe we just do the one because it fits, like a par 3, chasing aces makes sense. And it can be fun, right? Because I'm not trying to make this the most serious, intense, what's your handicap, whatever. Like, anybody can come out. It just ties in with our thoughts and our ethos of the company of, we're just here to have fun. We're here to chase aces. We're here to go for it and have fun with your friends. And the idea is, you guys might go off at, say, 10 o'clock, finish 90 minutes later, 2 hours later, and turn right around and watch your friends come in, because you're going to finish on the 9th hole. Then you're going to grab a, drink or something and watch your friends come in and shoot their $10,000 shot, or go up back to the tee box and banter with them a little bit. So that's the idea. Like, I just want it to be a relaxed, everyone's invited. I don't care what your handicap is. Just come out and have a good time at Summerfield on July 16th.
So, guys, if you need any more information, DM Jeff on Chasing Aces on Instagram. Reach out to him. Any of his contact is also on their website, chasingacesgolf.com. And you can contact him either way through email or DMs on Instagram. If you have any more questions, I hope anybody that listens to this that is in the Pacific Northwest or doesn't mind traveling a little bit to hit him up, Venmo him, get out there and play, because this is going to be a fun event. It really different than what you're probably going to experience at any other tournament that you're going to play, and I think that's one of the cool things. It's getting you out there, enjoying it, stress free, and just having a good time with some people, and get you out there to meet some new people too.
That's right. Yeah, it's just something different, something fun to do. We're not trying to take it too seriously.
Nope.
So yeah, I'm excited for it.
And you guys will enjoy Summerfield if you never played there. It's a really, really fun executive course that it is going to be challenging. There's a couple holes out there that will get you. There's a one par 4 out there. I know you're turning them all into par 3s, but one par 4 out there that has that tree on the right hand side in the middle of the fairway, and it's just there's some quirky, fun holes. And again, conditions are always good at Summerfield. So
I broke my first window last week there.
I saw that on Instagram.
I teed off on 2, and I'm trying to hit it down the right side and curve it back to the left. And I'm taking lessons now. Like, that's the level I'm at. I'm that into it that I'm taking lessons. And so I'm trying to implement what the instructor is telling me. And so that means I'm shanking more, and because I'm trying to put in what he's wanting me to do. So I hit it a little too far right. And it didn't hit the window directly. It hit a tree, and it could have bounced left into the fairway, but it just went a bullet into the house. And they have a net and everything, and it went through the net and still broke the window. So that's a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Like initiation, or like, okay, now you're a golfer. You broke a window. Like, you're part of it now. So you got that story, or I've got that story. So I get to always point at that window and go, yep, that's mine. I left my mark there.
I've hit plenty of roofs. Luckily, I've never hit a window yet. So, that's one thing I'm so crossing my fingers, hoping that doesn't come out after 20 years. But I have pegged plenty of homes, that's for sure.
Yep.
All right, Jeff. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Again, check out Chasing Aces on Instagram, website. Order some gear, because it is awesome, awesome gear, awesome logo, and just a great cause to support. And if you're ever looking for, a small business to support, my boy Jeff here is one to support. So please get out there and buy some of the gear.
Cool. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely, buddy.